Hello everyone, welcome back to Sadiq Fast Digital Institute. Today, we are going to continue our end-to-end data analytics project. In part 1, we clean our data using Microsoft Excel. Today, we are going to use MySQL Workbench to analyze that data and answer real business questions. We will explore the data set. We will clean any remaining issues. We will calculate important KPIs. We will answer real business questions. And we will interpret the data like real data analysts. SQL isn't all about writing queries. It's about turning raw data into useful insights that help businesses make better decisions. Enough talkings. Let's jump straight into MySQL Workbench and start analyzing our bakery sales dataset. If you want to follow along, you can download the dataset in the video description. Alright, the first thing we are going to do is to import our dataset. But before we import our dataset, we need to create a schema. Okay, so now what is a schema? A schema is just like a container that store all our database objects. Okay, it helps us organize our table. That is the most important part of the schema. That is why we need to create a schema. Okay, so to create the schema, we just need to come here. This plus sign. Okay, we'll just click on it. After we click on the schema, we need to give a schema a name. Okay, so the name we're going to give this schema is bakery sales. Okay, let's just put it as, okay, let's give it university bakery sales. Okay, so after we finish writing our university bakery sales, we'll just come and click this apply. Okay, and then as you can see, it says it create a schema called university bakery sales, right? We click on it and then we click on finish. So the next thing we are going to do is to just come into this schema here. Let's double click on it first. After we double click on it, you will notice that it becomes bold here, right? So we just come under this table here, we click on this table and then we right click on it. Okay, we'll just come here to table data import wizard. So we click on it. So from here now it will just direct us to our, to the part. Okay, that is where our table is, where we are going to import our table from. We click on this browse. That will take us back to our folders inside our computer, right? And then from here we'll then click on the file that we are going to use, which is university, okay, which is bakery sales, right? So we click on it, we click on open, right? We come here and we click on next. We click next again. Make sure that since there's nothing in our schema, I will just create a new table right here. The table name is what? Bakery sales. As you can see, here is the schema, right? And the table is bakery sales. So we'll just click on next, and then from here, this one is just like a preview of our data set. Okay, and then we click on next, then we click on next. So we're going to wait for it for just some few seconds to load. Okay, so after we finish importing our data set, we come and click next here and we click on finish. Okay, so from here, the next thing we are going to do is to come here and refresh our schema. Okay, so then we check here under this table and we see if our table is imported. So as you can see from here, we know our table is imported. So the next thing we are going to do now is to create our query, to start creating our query. Okay, so to start, we just press Ctrl T. Okay, so after pressing Ctrl T, now we have our query open. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do here is just to write a select statement to check if our table is well imported. Okay, let's write select put star, and then we say from bakery sales. This star means we should select everything from bakery sales. Okay, click out with bakery sales, and we click our semicolon here. So we select everything and we run the code here. Very good. So as you can see, our table is well imported. So the next thing we are going to do now is to start exploring our data. Okay, well, that is the first thing we are going to do. So since we are documenting everything, I will just like to write a highlight of the process that we are doing. Okay, or the first thing that we are going to do. Just come down here. From here, I will just put my hash sign here, and then I'll give space here, and then I will write data exploration. That's the first thing we're going to start with. Okay, and then we come down here. So the next thing we are going to do here is to check the number of rows that are inside our data. Okay, so to check that number, we'll just write another select statement, which is select. Okay, we now put count here. Count. We then open bracket and put our star here, which means we should count everything. Okay, and then from bakery sales, underscore, here is y, supposed to be y here, under seat here. We then put our semicolon. Okay, then we run the code. So as we run the code, this is the total number of columns that we are using. We have 1000 columns that we are using here. Okay, so the next thing now is to come down here. Before writing any SQL query, it is very, very important for us to understand the structure of the table. Okay, that means to understand each and every column that we are working with. Okay, so to do that, we'll just write a simple SQL query, which is describe like this. Describe bakery sales. Right, then we write our semicolon here, and then we run this code. Alright, so as you can see, this description helps us to understand each and every column that is inside our table. Okay, from our transaction ID to the type of data, transaction ID, which is text, to date, which is a date, right, to even also know if there are null values in our data set. Okay, and then from here you can see the customer name, it's a text, and it also has a null value. Okay, that is why we usually need to describe our data set first, so that we know that each column has data type, or it has a null value in it. Okay, so the next thing we are going to check now is our duplicate values. Okay, so we are going to check if we have a duplicate value or not. So we are going to write a query which is select. We then come down here so that we organize it clean. You know, let's start with transaction ID, right? Let's just select from transaction ID, right? Transaction is written in capital letter. Transaction underscore ID. the ID is also written in capital letter, as you can see it from here, right? It's written in capital letter, okay? Underscore ID, right? And then we put a comma here. Let's come down here and then see, we are going to write count, okay? Open our bracket, then we put star, which means count every transaction ID, right? We can just give it a name by just adding as duplicate values, duplicate underscore value. That is the name we are giving this query, right? And then we come down here from, don't forget you can write everything on a single line, but I'm just doing it here so that I will organize everything, okay? Duplicate values from bakery sales, okay? And then we come down here and we group it, okay? We use group by so that we sort everything, right? We sort everything, group by transaction ID. We filter it, sorry, not sorting, so that we filter it by our what? Transaction ID. Transaction ID, see your transaction ID here, it's already highlighted, right? Come down here, having count, sorry, there's space here, having count all, okay? Just open our bracket, put our star here, close our bracket, right? As 1, just keep everything as what? 1, okay? Then we run this code. So as you can see here, we don't have any duplicate value. That is why it does not bring out anything, okay? That is for here, for this one here. Then the next thing, we can also go by describing our distinct payment status, and you know, distinct customer name and whatsoever we want. But since we've already cleaned our data set in our part 1, we've already done data cleaning and we've already know the values that are within our data set, right? We'll just move on here, okay? So the next thing we are going to do, cleaning data. We'll just clean the remaining issues that are left in our data cleaning video, okay? Because as we check from this data set, while we were describing it, we noticed that there are some null values, okay? So we need to go and fix those null values, and we also need to, you know, just go through it in data cleaning, okay? So the next thing now we're going to do, we'll just write another topic here, which is our data cleaning, right? We are done with our data exploration. I don't want the video to be long, that is why I'm just skipping some things. But I believe since this is our first project, in our upcoming videos we will do everything, okay? Maybe I will do it topic by topic, okay? Data cleaning. And don't forget that different analysts follow different methods in cleaning their data or in doing their data analysis, okay? Right, then come down here. All right, for the data cleaning, the first issue we are going to address is the date column, because as we were exploring the data, right, we came and recognized that our date is a plain text, right, instead of date. Okay, so before performing any data related analysis, we need to convert it into a proper date format. Okay, so the query for this date format, and if you could remember, in our data cleaning, we converted our date into day, month and year because we are using Nigerian format. Okay, but in SQL we need to convert our date into a proper SQL date format. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're just going to update our bakery sales, right? The query is, we'll just write update bakery sales, bakery underscore sales, right? Okay, right, update bakery underscore sales, and we are going to set our set date. Okay, we are going to set date equals to str, which is standard, which is the standard format, right, of date in MySQL. Okay, 2, we put underscore here, you see it here, str to date, right? We open inside this bracket. Now the normal format will just write date here. Okay, we put a comma, we then put a quotation mark here, and then we now put a percentage sign here. Okay, and then we put M, which is the month, because for SQL it recognizes month first. Okay, we then put our space, I think, right, if I'm not forgetting. We then put our percentage sign again, we put day, D, which stands for our day, right? Put our backspace here, then we put another percentage sign, and we put Y here. Okay, then we close our quotation, close the bracket, because okay, our bracket is already closed, right? We then put our semicolon. Now let's run the code and see. So let's come down here and see if there's any report. Here it says update bakery sales date equals to str to date. There's we encounter a code 1292, right? This code, this error code 1292, simply means that the format we are using, that is our date format, the date format that we are using, is not recognized by MySQL. Okay, so the next thing we are supposed to do here is to check, let's verify the type of date we are using. Okay, let's verify the date standard we are using first before we update our date. Okay, so to verify the date, we'll just select everything from our bakery sales, right? We just write this select, since we already have the code up here, so let me just copy it. Okay, let's run this code again and sorry, we're talking about select everything, sorry, this is the code we are using. So our date format, as you can see, is day, month and year, right? So this is the format that we set in our data cleaning. Okay, so since we discover that our date is in days, month and year, we need to change it to month, days and year. Okay, let's just select our date, right? Let's just select date, backtick date, right? Another backtick, comma, let's come down here. Let's now check our str. str to date, right? Now our column here. Now let's come here inside our bracket, right? Let's check our column, backtick here, right? Comma, quotation, percentage m, percentage m, slash, sorry, here is supposed to be percentage d, slash percentage y, close our quotation, bracket is already closed, right? Then from bakery sales, from bakery sales, let's just go for only the date, because we have been checking the whole of the data set, and then in our data set we already know that we have null values. Now let's just limit our select statement to just the date row, okay? And then let's limit it to just 20 columns. Then let's run the code. Perfect. Okay, so now after we limit our date to only 20 rows, now we can see that it's not all the dates that are affected, right? It's not all the rows that are affected, okay? Because after we run this code, we can see that our date is well formatted as SQL date format, okay? But if we run everything, we'll still find that error above 92, okay? Maybe some of this some of the rows are affected, but our first 20 rows are not affected. So the next thing we are going to do now is just to check which rows are affected, okay? So we are going to now come down here and write and run another query to see which queries are affected, okay? So the query we are going to run now is another select statement. We'll just write our select here, and then we'll check this date. Now it is the date column that we'll check, so that we filter or we sort out those queries or those rows that are affected, okay? Just come down here, right from bakery sales, okay, which is our original which is the name of our file, right? Bakery sales, this one here, okay? And then we still come down here and we sort it where, sorry, we sort it where our str, this one here, we now go inside the bracket, and then we still check where our date, okay? And then we write, we put a comma here, and then we put our single quotation, percentage, okay? We start with M, and then put our slash, percentage again, now D, put slash, percentage, and then Y. Now then we close our quotation, close our bracket, where is, that is our date is null, sorry, not inside this bracket. We already write our bracket, right? Where is, sorry, be the mistake here, sorry, we did not write our, we did not put our backtick, right? Where is null? Okay, so write our null here, and then we put our semicolon. Now let's check, sorry, let's check from here. So as you can see here, there is nothing, meaning that it is not a null value. There is no null value, but there might be extra spaces that are added, okay, in between some of the datas while they are doing the data entry. Okay, so we'll now come here. Now we're going to use our trim function, okay, to remove these spaces. Okay, we're going to use our trim function to convert those spaces. So we'll write our select statement here. Select, come down, sorry, we come down here, and we still select our what, our date, here, okay, and then we put comma, then write our str, okay, that which is the standard date standard date format for SQL, right? So in between, inside this bracket, we'll now trim it, okay, and then what are we trimming? Our date, right? Backtick date, right? Close our bracket, then we write, put a comma here. Sorry, this let's clean this bracket, okay, and then we put comma, right? And then here we write our quotation, put our bracket, sorry, our percentage, we then put our normal format, right? Put our normal format here. We want to check, we want to trim those columns or those rows that are affected, okay, and we then close this bracket. Now we will name this one as, we will name them as converted date, okay, let's give them converted underscore date, okay, and then we come down here from, we run from bakery sales, bakery underscore sales, okay, and then we still come down here, we put where, sorry, there's a problem here. What might be the problem? Let's check and see. Okay, where is our trim function here? Yes, this is where the problem is. Then put it in a bracket, right? And then here where str, sorry, str, right? Sorry, come here, str, right? Is trim, right? We trim from, we still open bracket, from within this trim again we put our our date column, okay, and then here, put a comma here, and then we still put our standard date format. Okay, after we put our standard date format, which is like this, right, and then we close our quotation, we then close the bracket, and then is null. Let's run this code here. Then let's convert all the spaces, right? From here, if we check, we can see that our date, we have already trimmed everything now from our date here. Okay, so now let's try and run everything. Let's try and run this our code here and see if we can still have that problem after we update everything. Let's run it. Yeah, I think we don't have any other issue. So this date sometimes can be giving us so many issues, right? But this one is not a problem since we've already trimmed every thing. Okay, so I don't think we'll have another issue with our date. Our date is now okay. Okay, all right, so from here we'll just continue with our data analysis. Since this our data analytics project part 2 is not all about data cleaning, okay, so I'm just trying to highlight some ways in which you can fix some date issues. Okay, and then since we know our date is in SQL format and we've checked some of the roles and we see that they are not affected, right, and we've trimmed some of the roles and we find out that yes, our trim function has worked. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do is we just proceed to the next issue, which is now our fixing null values that are within the data set. Okay, so we'll just come down here. So from our data cleaning in Microsoft Excel, we know that some of the columns have null values because during the data entry they did not import those values. Okay, now these missing values can affect our analysis if we don't handle them properly. Okay, in the data set we will be checking the customer name, the payment status, and the note column. First, let's identify how many values are missing in each of the columns. Okay, so to check, the first thing we're going to do, we'll just write this statement or this query. Let's write a select let's come down here. Now we sum open bracket customer name customer underscore name. Let's put it the way it is in our data set, capital C, right? Just customer underscore name. Okay, and so where customer name is what is null. Okay, we close it and we give it name as missing customers, as missing customer names or missing customers, but let's just give it missing customer names, missing customer underscore names. Okay, put a comma and then we do it for payment status again. Just enter here and then we sum our payment status, or we can just copy this. Okay, let's just write it. Select. Okay, we've already put our select, right? We then put sum. We are going to sum again, open bracket, payment status. In our payment status, we know it is written like this. We have payment, and then there's a space, right? This time around it's not underscore. Okay, it is just a space. Payment status. Let's change this small letter p to capital letter P, and then we put our backtick again, only one. Okay, where is also what? Null, right? We close our bracket, and then this one now as we will see missing payment status. Missing underscore payment underscore status. Don't forget, we are just trying to check the missing values. We are not doing anything, we are just checking the missing values. Okay, and we put our comma. We come down here again and we write sum again. We sum, open bracket. This time around we are trying to sum our what? Our notes, right? Where our notes, right, is null. We then close our bracket, and then we see as missing. Let's give this M capital letter, as missing underscore notes. Then here there's no need for a comma, right? Just come down here from bakery sales. We put our semicolon. Let's run this code and see. Alright, so from our result here, we are seeing that the missing customers, they are all 0. So maybe these customers, they are not just null values. They might have some extra spaces in them also. They might have some trim issues with them. Okay, so just instead of just writing null values, we will now add or customer name equals to string from here. Okay, so instead of just leaving it as customer name is equals to null, and we'll just add something like customer name is equals to null or missing or empty string, sorry. Okay, equals to null, or just add or miss customer name, customer underscore name, like this, right? Name equals to, we'll just put a double quotation. We'll just put 2 quotations here. Maybe that means there are strings. Okay, then we come down here also. So this C is, let's just give it capital letter so that we standardize everything. Okay, then this one here also, we'll just say instead of null, we'll add or right? Payment status equals to string also, right? Don't forget, since we open bracket, we need to close our brackets. Here also we need to close our bracket. Here also we'll now clean this one, and then we'll write all notes equals to string, right? We close our bracket, and then let's run the code again and see. Very good. So as you can see now, we already know that it is they are not missing values, they are not null values, but they are what? They are empty strings. Okay, so for the empty strings, we'll just do it one by one, right? We will just tame them one by one. Okay, so first of all, we'll just come down here. We come down here now, and then we'll just use the trim function. Okay, we'll just use it and trim the empty cells. Okay, we'll just write a select statement. Let's just do it once and for all, right? Select all from bakery sales. Come down where trim open bracket customer underscore name, okay, close bracket, equals to string or trim payment status equals to string or trim note notes, right, equals to string. Then we put our what? Semicolon, and let's run the code. Let's run the code. Alright, after we run this query, which says we should remove any extra spaces that is within these columns, right, which is the customer column or the payment status or the note, right? As you can see, it shows here that it returns almost 375 rows are affected. So 375 rows have either full value or an empty string. Okay, now to fix them, we'll just use a query to update those those null values or empty string. Okay, we'll just use maybe something like unknown customer, and then, or we can just use unknown to all of the queries, because we don't know the values there. Okay, instead of just giving them another different name like unknown customer name or unknown something, let's just put it as unknown, because we can verify it in our analysis. Okay, just update these sales, right? So the query we are writing here is going to be update, okay, bakery sales, because that is the table that we are using, right? Bakery underscore sales. Come down here, we set our customer name, we set our customer name, underscore name equals to, just put it in string, okay, unknown, close our string, okay, come down, see where trim, open bracket, customer name, underscore name, okay, close bracket, and then which is equals to empty string now, right? Let's check. Let's run this code. Here, let's come down. So here now, as we can see, we've already we've update our bakery sales, right? Where our customer name is equals to unknown. That is where it is empty, an empty string or a null value. We just update it to unknown, right? So now let's go back and check and see if we can get our unknown from our customer name, right? Let's just run the whole of the query. If we can get, if we got this right, we'll just do it for the remaining. Okay, now customer name, right? Now let's check under this customer name and see whether we have unknown. Okay, so from here now we can see unknown, right? So we know that this one is unknown customer. So that means this our function has worked. This our query have worked, right? So we'll just copy this query and just change the name of the column. Okay, Control C, then come down here, we paste it here, Control V here. We now change our customer name to payment status, right? Payment status. Okay, here also we change it to payment status. Let's put our S. Make sure that all what you are doing, you are writing the correct. Don't go and make mistake in spelling. Make sure you don't have spelling errors, because these spelling errors can cause all the functions or all the queries not to work. Now this one, the last one here, will now change it to note. Okay, now change it to notes. Here, this one also we change it to note. right? So now let's run all the queries. Run this one. Yes, it worked because we've updated here. See it here, right? It says it updates our bakery sales, and then 196 roles are affected. And as you know, we, even though I did not highlight the numbers, but we know the numbers will be up to 190 something. And then the next one, which is the last one, for the note, also 194 roles are affected. Now if we check, we'll see we don't have any other null values. Okay, they are all updated to unknown. Now if we run, if we come here to the notes here, I believe from the note here we can see it says what? Unknown, right? And then the next one we'll verify is for the payment status. For the payment status also we have unknown value. So that is it. That is all for our data cleaning. The next thing we are going to move to is our data analysis. Okay, that is what we'll just move on to. So here we'll just write a highlight, then we write data analysis. So this is where we start the most important part of our data analysis, and the first thing we are going to check now is our KPIs. Okay, that is the first thing that we are going to start checking. Let me just write under here, sorry, let's just write another highlight here, and then let's just draw the line and write KPIs, which are the key performance indicators. KPIs. So which are the what? KPIs. Now let's go down. Alright, so the first KPI we are going to start calculating is our total revenue. Okay, we're going to start by just writing a select statement, right, which is select. Just come down here and then we put sum, since we are calculating the total, right? So we need to put sum of our net amount, right? Yes, our net underscore amount. Close this bracket, and we are going to name it now as our total revenue. Total revenue. Sorry, here let's give it space from our bakery sales. Okay, just come down from bakery sales. Underscore sales. Here we need to add an underscore here, sorry. Come down here, put a semicolon and run the code. Let's run it. Alright, so as you can see here, we have the business have generated almost 9,155,930 naira, since we are dealing with naira. That is the total revenue for this business. Okay, so after the total revenue, now the next thing we are going to calculate now is our total transaction. Okay, so we'll just write another select statement, right? We see select, now we count, select count. Okay, then we put open our bracket, transaction. transaction ID underscore ID, right? So that we know our total transaction, right? As now we name it now as total transactions. Okay, total underscore transactions. Okay, then come down from our what, then we'll come down and write from our bakery sales. Okay, so we run this code. Alright, so we have the total of 1000 transactions. Okay, that is our now second KPI. We know our total transactions. Okay, then the next KPI we are going to look for is the total quantity sold. Okay, we are going to look for our total quantity sold. So we write our select statement again. Select. Since we are talking about total, we already know we are summing it, right? Now sum, open bracket, quantity. That is how it is written in our data set, right? Total quantity. Okay, close our bracket as, now say as total quantity sold underscore quantity underscore sold. That is the name we are giving it. Okay, so we can put this one in capital letter since we've already started using the capital letter, right? From bakery sales. Then put our semicolon around this code. Okay, from here we can see the total quantity sold, right, of our product, right? All the product that we are producing or we are selling, right? So this is the total quantity that we sold. Okay, all right, so the next KPI we are going to calculate is our what, our average order value, which is the average amount a customer spend per transaction. So we are going to use a simple query, which is select. Let's use a select statement. Come down here and now write our average, and to write average we just use avg, right? This is now the average. This is how we write average. Okay, then we open bracket and then we put our net profit and net amount, sorry, net underscore amount. Okay, then close our bracket and then we say as, we write it as average order value. Okay, so now we write average underscore order underscore value. So since we've started using this, let's just keep it like this. Okay, from our bakery sales, come down and then write from bakery sales. Sorry, put our semicolon and run it. So our average order value is 9,155, and we have some points, right? So we can also round this point into two significant figures. What we'll just do is we'll just come here before this average, right? We'll just put a round here. We'll put round, sorry, which means we are rounding the average, right? Home bracket. We then come here now after this bracket, right? We then put comma, and then we say we are going to round these values we are going to round them into two significant figures. Okay, so we'll just write our 2 here, and we close the bracket, and then we run the code again. So if we run the code, we'll see we have the numbers in two significant figures. Okay, so the next KPI we are going to calculate again is total discount given. That is the total discount we give in the business. Okay, so the total is, we'll just write select total discount, right? Select, we know since it's a total we need to write sum, right? Write sum, open bracket. So now we'll look for our discount. What is the name of our discount column? It's just discount, right? Discount amount. We write discount underscore amount. We close the bracket, right? And then we say as what? As total discount given underscore discount underscore given. We can also write total discount and then leave it like that. We say from bakery sales, sorry, there's space here, from bakery underscore sales, with our semicolon. We run this code again. So we give the total amount of how many? 1,048,661. Okay, so how do you see these numbers for a businessman giving discount of almost 1 million and something? Sure, if we compare it to the total revenue that we generated, and then let's just come to our business questions. We'll also discuss about it now. I just want to talk small about it before we finish our KPIs, right? So the next KPI we are going to calculate is the average discount percentage. Since if you remember, we have our discount percentage in our data set, right? So we want to know the average discount percentage. Okay, so we then write our select statement. Okay, we come down here and then we write our average, right? Since we are looking for average, AVG, right? Let's give it capital letter AVG, right? Open bracket, then put our discount, right? Which is discount percentage. Discount underscore percentage. We have it already in our data set, right? And close our bracket, right? As average as what? Average underscore discount percentage. Discount underscore percentage, right, from our bakery sales. From bakery sales. Put our semicolon. Let's run it. Very good. So as we run it now, we can see that our average discount percentage is 10 point something naira. Okay, we can also round this up. So okay, let me just round it up for us. So let's, although we are spending more time, but how do we do it? We'll just round it. Just round it, right? Sorry, our average is supposed to be in between, right? AVG, right? So here also, here, sorry, we'll put our comma and we're going to round it into two significant figures. Close and run again. Very good. So as you can see, we have rounded up to two significant figures. Okay, and then the next KPI we are going to look for now is the number of unique customers. So how many customers do we have? That is the number of unique customer names. How many customers, like distinct customers, we have? So we are going to count the number of customers that we have. Okay, how many different customers that purchase our product. Okay, so we'll just write a select statement again. Select, just come down here and write our count, since we are counting how many distinct customers we have, right? Count, open bracket, customer names, customer underscore name, right? Or distinct customer name, right? Close the bracket, as our what? Unique customers, and just put it as our unique customers, as unique, underscore customers. Okay, then come down, then put our from bakery sales, right? Without semicolon, and run the code. So we have 28 distinct customers. Okay, we have 28 people that usually come and buy our product. Okay. And then the last KPI we are going to check now is our number of products sold. That is total number of products sold. Okay, so we'll just write another select statement. Select. Okay, since we already say we are going to count numbers, so we are going to use count, right? Count. Okay, open bracket, distinct product, close our bracket, right? as what is this product, we close bracket, right, as product sold, product underscore sold, come down, we write from bakery sales. Let's run this code. Okay, so from here you can see that we have 15 unique products. That is the products that we are selling. Okay, so we have 15 unique products. So the next thing we are going to do now is just to move on to answering some business questions. Okay, questions related to this data set. So now as we are going, we are documenting everything. Okay, so here now we'll just write our subject. Okay, I'll just give it a title. Let's give it business questions. Business questions. So the first business question we are going to ask is which product generates the highest revenue. Okay, so we are going to calculate for the product that generates the highest revenue. So to calculate the product that generates the highest revenue, we are going to write another select statement, which is select. Okay, we'll come down here, we select what our product first. Okay, we select our product, okay, and then we put a comma here, and then we come down here. So as you already know, I don't want to be going forth and back. We'll just round everything into two significant figures. From here we'll just put our round here. Okay, and inside the round, this is where we are going to put our sum. We'll now sum the product from here. Okay, we put our sum, we still open another bracket inside this bracket. We know that the first bracket is for rounding the digits. Then this one, now we are going to sum now the net amount. We are going to sum the net amount, that is the total amount that is generated by each product, the net amount. But this net amount is for all the products. Okay, we'll now close this bracket, which means we close the bracket for the sum, right? We put a comma here, and then we're rounding it into two significant figures. We put our 2 here. The bracket is already closed. Let's just remove this sign here. Okay, and then we give it a name, which is, we'll name it as what should we call this? Let's say total revenue, right? Total revenue. Okay, total revenue. You can even add by product, but I don't want our query to be long, so we'll just write total revenue, total underscore revenue. Okay, and then we still come down here, then doing the calculation from our bakery sales, here we're going to group it by our product. Okay, so we'll just come down here, then we group by what, our product. Okay, our product, and then we are going to now sort it. We're going to sort it in descending order. Okay, so we are going to now order by, we use order by here, order by our total revenue here. Okay, so we copy it, we bring it down here, control V. Okay, and then we say we are going to order by what, in descending order. We will just put D E and see it here, and then we put our semicolon, and then we run it. Let's run it here. So from here we can see that our bread, which has 700 grams, is the highest selling product, because we generate up to 2,252,526. And then the next one is coconut bread, which we generate 1,352,800. Then it's followed by our bread, which has 350 grams. This is what they all generated. Okay, so we'll just keep explanation here. So just keep the explanation here. Okay, so just we'll explain everything in our final episode. Okay, so let's just go down here, and then the next question we are going to answer is, which product sold the most quantity? Okay, that is the next question we are going to answer. So to answer this question, we are going to write another select statement, which is select. We come down here. Since we are still talking about product, right, we'll write our product here, select product. Okay, and then we put our comma here, we come down, and then we sum our product, open bracket. Okay, we sum what are we going to sum? Since we are looking for the product that sold the most quantity, right, so we are going to calculate for the quantity first. So we are going to put our quantity here, which is the quantity, right? We close our bracket here. That is what we are summing, right? We sum the quantity, and then we give it a name, which is as, let's give it a name as total quantity sold. Okay, then write what, total underscore quantity underscore sold. Right, so we come down here now, we come down and we say from our what, from bakery sales. Okay, and then we still come down here and we are going to group it. Okay, we are going to group it by our what, by our product. Okay, so we group by product. Okay, since we are looking for the product that sold the highest quantity, right? So and then we come down here and we are still going to order it by total quantity. Okay, we order by total quantity sold, total underscore quantity underscore sold. Then we put our semicolon, and then we run the code. So from here, as you can see, we have diner roll. So but we did not put it in, so let's put in descending order here. Okay, let's put in descending order. D. Okay, then let's rerun the code again so that we have the highest. Very good. So as you can see now, we have our bread for 700 grams. We sold the total amount of 2,258. Okay, it is a very good number. And then the coconut bread, that is why this one generates the highest revenue, because we sold it most. Okay, and then we have the coconut bread also with 1,885 quantities. Then we have hot dog bun, which is 1,640. We have Swiss roll generates 1,640. This one 641, this one 640. So these numbers are quite impressive. Okay, all right, so now we'll just go straight to the next question. All right, so the next question we're going to ask is, which customer type contributes the highest revenue? Okay, that is the customer that contributes the highest revenue. So it's also a simple select statement. We'll just write our select. Okay, we come down here, we write our what? Our customer type. Customer underscore type. Okay, and then we put a comma here. We come down, and then we first let's just round everything first. We round everything. We round, because we are going to sum. Okay, then we sum. We sum our what? Our net amount. Okay, our net amount, because we are talking about customer that generates the highest revenue. Okay, so we are still going to we are going to calculate our what? Our net amount. Going to use our net amount. And then since we've already we want to round it up, let's round it into two significant figures the way we did to the other ones. Okay, we close the bracket, and then we are going to give it as total revenue. Okay, let's give it total revenue as total revenue. Okay, as total underscore revenue. So here under this revenue, you can also add total revenue by customer type. You can write custom by customer type, but me, I will just leave it as total revenue. Okay, because I will understand what I am writing. Okay, from bakery sales. Okay, so now we are going to group it by our by our customer type. We group by our customer type, right? Customer type, and then we are still going to order by our total revenue in descending order. Okay, our order by total underscore revenue in descending order, which is DESC. Okay, we don't put our semicolon, and then let's run this code. Let's run the query or the statement or the code, anyone you can put it. Very good. So from here we can see that the highest group that we generate our revenue from are the students. Students bought bread for more than 2 million 382,000 also 72. Okay, and then we have our distributor, we have school canteen, we have our external, and then we have the staff. Okay, and this is it is working well because I happen to be part of the management in this bakery. Like seriously, this is where I serve as a copper. Okay, so yes, this is where I am doing my NYSC, and these figures represent everything there. Okay, so now the next question we are going to ask is, who are the top 10 highest spending customers? Okay, so we want to know our top 10 highest spending customers. So we will now use another select statement, which is select. Okay, we still come down here. Now don't forget we are looking for the highest spending customers. Okay, that is the top 10, so we have to use the customer names here. Okay, so we are now going to use our customer names, customer underscore name. Okay, and then we put our comma here, we come down, and I've already passed this stage. Now let's round everything. Okay, we are going to round the figures into two significant figures. Okay, we round we now sum, we write our sum. Okay, we already have a bracket here, so let's cancel one here. We sum our net amount again. Okay, our net amount, we sum our net underscore amount. Okay, and then we are going to round it into two significant figures. Okay, we write our comma here, then we put 2 here, then we close our bracket. Okay, and then we come down here now from our bakery sales. Okay, from bakery sales. Okay, and then here we are going to group by, so here don't forget, here we did not give it a name. After we sum it, we want to give it another name, which is as we say total spend. We can just give it total spend by each customer. Okay, total spend by each customer, or we just give it total spend. Just write total spend, total underscore spend. Okay, so we now come down here when we are grouping it by our customer name. Okay, group it by customer name here. Okay, and then we order it, and then order by total spend. Okay, in descending order, total underscore spend. Okay, in descending order, DESC, right? And then so here we are don't forget, we are looking for the top 10. We are not looking for all. Okay, so now we are going to limit it to 10. We limit to 10. Now let's run this code. Very good. So as you can see from here, Stella Umosu was our highest spending customer. Okay, she spent almost 585 naira within the period of this data in our bakery. Then the next person is Bala Usman. We have Chukwuemeka Obi. We have Kemi Ogundimo. We have Abdullahi Wada. So these are the, if we go down here, it will limit us to 10 highest spending customers. Okay, so yes, maybe in our recommendation I would like to tell the management to add maybe the discount they are giving to Stella and Wosu and the rest, or maybe we'll look for something beneficial for them. So now our next question is, we want to know which sales representative generates the highest revenue. Okay, so for this query now, we'll just write our select statement. We write our select. Okay, we come down here, we then write our what sales representative. Don't forget, you have to write it the way it is in your what in our data set has highest sales underscore representative. Yes, okay, then we come down here. You already know we are going to round everything. Okay, we round, right, put it in bracket. There's supposed to be a comma here. Okay, so we put our comma, I forgot. Then we round it, then we put our sum here. We are going to sum our net amount. Okay, our net underscore amount. Okay, we close our bracket, put our comma, then we write our what 2, because we are approximating it into 2 significant figures, right? Then we close our bracket and we write as, we put it as what, total revenue, right? Total underscore revenue. Okay, then we put it from our what, from bakery sales. Okay, and then we are still going to group it by what, we are going to group it, we are going to group by our what, we are going to group by our what, sales representatives. Sales representative. Okay, and then we are going to order by, still going to order by, so here there's space, let's just come down here. Okay, and then we write our order by, we order by our total revenue in descending order. Underscore revenue. In descending order. Then we run the code. Let's run this code here. Very good. So as you can see here, from our sales representative, we have Zainab Dalladi. She's the one who with the highest sales, right? With the highest sales record. We have Bello Garba, we have Umar Abdullahi, we have Kabir Sani, we have Aisha Muhammad, right? And then this is the sales that they made. Okay, so we'll just proceed. Our next and final question for this tutorial is going to be which products are most affected by discount. Okay, we want to know how discount affect each of these products. Okay, and we want to know the product that it affect most. Okay, so we are going to write a query which is a select. We come down here, put our our product. Sorry, let's give it a capital letter for the product because we are selecting our product. Okay, right, we put comma, come down here, we are going to round it. I don't know, we are going to round it, so let's just round everything from here. We are going to round our select statement, right? Then we put our sum here. Okay, we open another bracket, then we write our discount amount, discount underscore amount, sorry. Okay, and then we come back here, comma, we round it into significant figures, close it, right? Give it now a name which is as total discount given, total underscore discount underscore given. We can give it as total discount, but let's just give it another name which is total discount given, right? And then we are going to now calculate the total. We are going to also now calculate the total discount all in all. Okay, so we now round open bracket, we sum, open bracket, we sum our net amount. Okay, our net underscore amount. Okay, we close the bracket, and then since we are rounding it, we know we are going to make it into two significant figures. That is how we normally do, right? Here now let's change this, it's small letter r. Okay, and then here let's give it a comma here. Okay, then this one now as as total revenue, right? That's how we keep it, total underscore revenue. Sorry, revenue, right? Then we say from our from our table which is bakery sales, right? Then we group it by product, group by product, right? Because we want to know the product that is affected most, right? Then we order by our total discount given, order by total underscore discount underscore given, right? Then we're going to put it in descending order. Then we put our semicolon, and then we run this code. Very good. So from here now, as we can see, Also, the total discount given was for the bread 700 gram, right? It has the total it has the highest total discount that is given. It is the one that has the highest total revenue, and also it is the one that is affected by discount. Okay, and then we have coconut bread, Swiss rolls, and then the rest of it. So I think we've come to the end of this our part 2 of our data analysis project. Okay, so these are not the questions, these are not the only questions that we can answer with this data, but I think these are the most relevant questions, or they are the ones that I use for this tutorial. So in our next tutorial, which is the part 3, and also the final part of our full data analytics project, we are going to be looking at Power BI. And then if you have watched up to this place, up to this place now, please you can share this video so that other people can also get this information. Okay, so thank you so much for your patience and for following this tutorial up to this stage. See you in our next and our final project.